Well, joining us now for a conversation, pleased to have him with us. Vice President of Case IH North America, Kurt Coffey, is with us here today. Kurt, great to connect with you, sir. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, glad to be with you. We missed you at the show, but as we discussed, it's good to catch up here, take a little time, and follow up a couple weeks after the Farm Progress show. So thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Farm Progress Show got to be a very, very busy time for both of us. And so we juggled some scheduling and made this work here after the show. I'd love to maybe just start there. I know Case was talking about a lot of different things, a lot of exciting products and more. You guys have been rolling out quite a bit here over the last year or so. What were some of the highlights for you at Progress Show, and really just from this past year of some of the latest and greatest from Case? Why don't we start there, Kurt?
It was an exciting show to move forward in what's becoming a difficult market. We've shown up at the show this year, showing great return on investment across our R&D platform. I'm really proud of partners across CNH because we're going to keep going forward with optimizing productivity across our harvesting platform. So earlier in the year, we launched the AF11, which I've been watching test data coming in daily across the nation. And I've said it a few times, but this truly is the apex. But we came in underneath, I'll call it a squeeze play at the show with an AF10 and also a corresponding AF9. That's axial flow, of course, the AF, but we really hit the 80-20, if you will, of the industry with these new platforms. And so these are the most important launches that we've had in harvesting for probably a generation. And we're, again, showing our customer base that we're moving forward even in a difficult market. I think without rambling too long, I would say we also showed a full facelift across our Steiger platform, which is our highest horsepower lineup. We lead there. We're very proud of the Steiger platform. And this was unique to me because for many years I had global marketing and we worked on the new design, the new style. It's kind of, visceral at times or cosmetic, but to me it's rewarding because I had been working on some of this design for 5 years actually. So obviously a lot of technology and many other things we can talk about, but I would say those were the top two when it comes to platforms and innovations.
Awesome. Well, and technology and innovation, of course, has kind of been the hallmark here throughout the ag industry. I'd say in recent years, as we've gotten into the 2000s and really seeing a lot of great progress being made. You alluded to this though, and I think we should talk about it a little bit more in depth. Just the troubling ag economy that is out there right now. And I'm sure you heard a lot of this from folks at the Farm Progress Show, and you've been hearing this from folks. And it's no secret that competitors of yours have had layoffs and workforce reductions, et cetera, et cetera. And it's something that I know there's a lot of concern in rural America right now about this overall ag economy. What is your perspective as a leader at Case IH on where things stand and where we're going here moving forward?
It's I don't want to say troubling. It's difficult to see corn at $4 and soybeans at $10. I sold some new crop last week for far lower than I would like. But my take is we have to adjust through the cycles. I don't really remember the 80s. I was a really little guy, but I do remember a lot of neighbors that don't farm anymore from that time frame. That was different because land got hit really hard at that time too. Land by me was 3,000-4,000 and it fell to 1,300-1,500. This change is different. A number of reasons. Land is not backsliding, if you will. Debt to equity in many areas is okay or good if you look at slope charts. And also, like the pullback in 13-14 into 15-16, there was very large overproduction during those years leading up to the downturn that we experienced, multiple years around 16, 17, 18. So, there was a lot of suppressed demand post-COVID with some work stoppages across us and our largest competitor. And that has allowed this downturn, if you will, to be different than what we saw in the 80s and what we saw in 2015-16. Having said that, our focus is to stay disciplined. Look, if the market is 1,000 units, but now it moves down to 800, we're going to align our line rates, our materials, and our labor to that level. And you intimated, there's noise out in the market. This is what you and I would do if we ran a company. We would run our line rates and our materials and our labor based upon what the market had. So at Case IH, very focused on staying balanced. This is my number one focus the last 6 months. We can't get pedantic and start worrying and using a term freaking out. We have to be balanced and disciplined. And we've really grabbed our bootstraps and been very disciplined in the way we're partnering with dealers. And I'm pleased with how we're handling this pullback so that when it gets good again, we'll be ready and we'll be better than ever.
How much has inflation maybe played a role here? I know, thinking about where price levels were for new equipment 5 years ago before COVID, 6 years ago, et cetera, compared to now, I know that you've seen a lot of shifts upward here. Cost of materials has been more, et cetera, et cetera. How much of a role is that playing in your guys' business model and what is offered out there for farmers and ranchers?
We have been required for a number of years to pass on significant cost changes, whether that's materials or whether that's labor. I can tell you for a couple of years, we were very much allocating and doing quarterly tranches to be very disciplined so we didn't get caught with an order board that's 15 months deep, but I have material costs I could only see out 3 months, right? So we've had to be nimble and scrappy, as has everybody in the world, because everybody was, hoarding toilet paper and buying ahead. Okay, I'm using a colloquialism here. But what we've tried to do, I'll go back to who we are. We're built by farmers. This is one of our mantras. It's become kind of a tagline around Case IH. Our goal has been to remain disciplined. We, of course, have had to pass on material or labor costs, which has increased prices everywhere, from pickups to food to combines. But you can read our 10K, you can see our earnings. We've had good performance. We've improved basis points here and there in our bottom line. But what we're doing is trying to also be the approachable and straightforward brand where customers see us pass on those costs and prices move, but we haven't gone so far that it's just out of line. I'm a farm kid, and so my brother probably will call me and say I disagree. But we're trying to, again, stay balanced and disciplined by passing on having sustainability. Our dealers know we have to be able to make a certain level of profit or EBIT so we can put back into the R&D pipeline to deliver what we're delivering. And so that's my focus and my commitment to our investment basis and our shareholders as well.
I heard a lot of this from farmers at the Farm Progress Show, and I've been hearing more of it as well with this current economic environment. A lot more folks interested in leasing new equipment. A lot of manufacturers are rolling out new and updated leasing programs. Is that something you're hearing from your customers? More folks interested in various lease programs rather than buying a brand new piece of equipment outright?
I love the question. I'm smirking here. In 2013-14, I was in the parts and service world, and I led CNH Parts and Service, I think, from like 16 to 19. And I watched Jim Walker, who used to lead Case IH at that time, work through 2 years of superb volumes of lease returns. And so why did I say that? Yes, leasing in certain times is more appealing. But what we're doing is making sure that leasing doesn't create market to where then in 2-3 years when those leases come back, we're having to work through an inordinate amount of leases that created market, like we saw, like everybody saw. I mean, you can go read 10Ks from the day. Companies were having to take losses against lease returns because there was market that was created. So short answer, yes. Our goal is, again, to be the reliable partner to customers and dealers. If a lease makes more sense, the beauty we have is our captive, CNH Capital. We can work with them and get scrappy and get gritty. And we've been working on options based on customer feedback. We've rolled some new leasing options out recently with our dealers, and our dealer advisory board has been giving us feedback on the best way to move forward with both purchase, financing, or leasing.
We're having a conversation today with Kurt Coffey, Vice President of Case IH North America. Kurt, I think about all of what we're seeing right now with the ag economy. Of course, we don't have a new farm bill, things like that. How much does, say, policy issues in Washington, D.C. and regulation, et cetera, how much does that have an impact on what you guys are doing at Case IH and working with farmers and ranchers? Any thoughts there?
I'm pretty apolitical, but just because of who I am. But I get really involved when it comes to core beliefs or core needs around the farmer and the customer. Not only because I am a farmer, most of our dealers are, but I sit on the AEM Ag Sector Board, and so I spend quite a bit of time locking arms, frankly, with competitors to take on industry issues. And so, you mentioned the farm bill. There are a myriad of areas where we'll lay down our paint color and lock arms and say this is an existential challenge. I think when it comes to farm bill, I spent some time recently in Milwaukee with members of the House and the Senate talking through this. Mr. Thompson was there talking about what he wanted to do rest of year. And I actually saw that you had written on this either yesterday or the day before. Generally some of the language we're seeing on the ag side, so I'm not going to get into, SNAP and benefits, if you will, but on the ag side, I would say, provisional language and some of the conversations I've had are positive. I'm not going to, get predictive here, but I'm pleased to see that both sides of the House and Senate are taking this issue seriously. I think it's critically important we get a farm bill beyond just continuation funding, because frankly, this is something to where a large operation that has a high leverage or a revolver where their banker is requiring certain provisions with the backstop of insurance, we could have farms that don't have that reassurance if there isn't longstanding farm bill language in place. Furthermore, there's a lot of noise right now on accelerated depreciation. And I think that corresponding to, crop insurance provisions and other parts of the farm bill, I mean, frankly, they're an existential threat to the lifeblood of food production in North America. To me, I extend that to just national security. I mean, if we can't produce food and not have food scarcity because a number of farms are uncertain, this is not the American way. So I'm confident we'll see something. I'm not predicting. We're making our voice heard. We're locking arms with partners across the industry, and I'm confident we'll get somewhere, hopefully by the end of the year. If not right away in early next year is our hope.
Well, I appreciate the thoughts there and the candor, and I'd love to maybe wrap it up with this. Let's look to the future here, Kurt, as I know there's a number of different things on the horizon here, and technology keeps evolving throughout the ag equipment industry, et cetera. I hear a lot of talk from various companies. More farmers are wanting to see more, here's an example, like on-farm service and some changes to the dealer model and how things are done, things like that as technology evolves and shifts. So things like that, as we evolve and move forward, what's on your mind? What are you looking forward to as we move ahead into 2025 and beyond? Like what's on the horizon for you as you help lead Case IH?
We're obviously continuing to invest to update our platforms on the hardware side. You've seen that all year long. We've launched combines every 100 days. I mean, we're on that path. Parallel to that, we're really doubling down on technology. Integrating the Raven acquisition into the CNH House of Brands has accelerated our automation features. We're leading in a number of areas. Our combine automation platform still blows my mind. And so we're on the path. As we automate features across the board, we continue to look towards when does this become fully autonomous. I won't predict that, but we're on our way, and it's exciting to see that pathway. I think you touched on service, and maybe I'll lean in there a little bit. I'm the former CNH reman guy and CNH parts and service guy. That's why I lost all my hair. This is core to the virtuous cycle of the customer coming back. And this is why Case IH has been a famous brand for 180 years, is because, service built our brand, and that's arm in arm with our dealers. They're our lifeblood. What we're trying to do is overlay technologies and things that customers need to complement the dealer experience. We just launched, I think yesterday, a new tool, an AI tool in service across CNH, where this tool scrapes our knowledge, our publications, our IP, the stuff that we have copyrighted that's, a 100-page manual, but also our knowledge. We have an internal tool called Assist And anytime somebody self-resolves at the dealer level or they call us and we help them fix it, that goes into the knowledge article. Well, it scrapes that. And somebody can quickly just type in, hey, I have this issue, and using AI, we're helping get people up and going quickly. So this is a new tool we launched yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And so technology is not just get in my combine and push corn, and now my 11-year-old is an excellent combine operator, but it's also tools to me that complement the number one purchase driver, which is, if I buy this, how is my dealer going to help me with the parts and service to keep it going long term? And so I'll conclude with that. I mean, in difficult times, many customers looked me in the eye 2 weeks ago and said, we typically roll every year or two. We may defer for another year. That's okay. Let's talk about uptime. Let's talk about upgrade kits, performance kits. We put out best-in-class warranty with extended 5-year powertrain warranty on some of our platforms because we knew this was the economic cycle we're going into. But instead of being alienating and being worried about an industry that's different, we're just leaning into it, saying, how can we complement or partner with that customer and that dealer through those times? And many of those things are value unlocks using technology, and many of them are just doing it the way we always did it. But love what I do here at Case IH, and it's good to spend some time with you here this afternoon.
Absolutely. And really appreciate the thoughts and the insight. This was a stellar conversation. Kurt Coffey, Vice President of Case IH North America. Thanks for joining us here today. We look forward to having a conversation with you again down the road.
Anytime. Pleasure's mine. Thank you. Be well.